About a year ago, the director Taika Waititi commented, and I'll give you the full quote: "People are obsessed with likes and leaving behind a legacy, being remembered. Here's the thing, no one's going to remember us. What's the name of the director of Casablanca? Arguably one of the greatest films of all time. No one knows his names. How the do I expect to be remembered? So who cares?" And I actually think this motto is actually quite a nice way to live your life. Just live your life and leave history to itself. But here's the question: who is the director of Casablanca? So now his name is Michael Curtiz, and I want to explain why his name is not remembered, whereas, say, Hitchcock's name is remembered. Now, Curtiz, he began acting and then he started directing films in his native Hungary in 1912, if you don't know. And after World War One, he continued his filmmaking career in Austria and Germany, and then into the early 20s when he directed films in other countries in Europe. Now, he moved to the US in 1926 and he started making films in Hollywood for Warner Brothers. And he is the definition of a journeyman director. Now, if you look at his early work, a lot of it is not very well rated on IMDb, and a lot, over his nearly 179 credits, most of them are rated 5 or under. So, even though he's made so many classic films, you could say, well, he was a bit of someone who was maybe you couldn't trust him. Like an audience couldn't say, it's a Michael Curtiz film, I know it's going to be good. Whereas, say, like when you think of Hitchcock, the first thing that comes to your mind is Hitchcock, master of suspense. So, his films are going to be good, they're going to be of a certain quality, let's just say, and generally speaking, like even something like Rebecca, it's quite suspenseful, right? So when you sit down to watch a Hitchcock film, you basically know what you're going to get. You're going to get an exciting, suspenseful movie. Now, when you sit down to watch a Michael Curtiz film, what are you going to get? Now, like if you look at his oeuvre, let's say, you have, of course, you've got Casablanca, and Casablanca is one of those films where it really is a little bit of everything. Like it's the Samuel Goldwyn, exotic location, action, adventure, romance. It has everything. Drama. It's funny. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It has everything. Incredibly quotable too. Now, when you think of a Michael Curtiz film, so there's a few different categories. So if he could be known for anything, I would argue that he was an adventure director. So, Casablanca has elements of adventure, but obviously he worked with the same actors many times, and one of his longest runs was with Errol Flynn in a lot of his action movies. So you've got like the classic Captain Blood, you've got the great films like now he did make The Private Lives of Elizabeth and Essex, which is less adventure, more drama. But again, let's say you've got of course The Adventures of Robin Hood and things like that. So if he kept just making adventure films, you could say, like, great, okay, Michael Curtiz, master of adventure, swashbuckling, handsome, great. Now, another type of film that he made, well, not necessarily a lot of, but when he did it very well. So you've got classics of musicals, such as Yankee Doodle Dandy, White Christmas, and I think there was one more. Yankee Doodle Dandy, White Christmas, and King Creole, with Elvis Presley. So now that could have been a thing. Now you might be arguing, okay, so you're sitting here and listening now. What about Howard Hawks? Howard Hawks was also a lot like Michael Curtiz, but he's a lot more remembered. And I would argue that the reason for that is with with Howard Hawks, you always got a very, very witty script. Like whether it was, like sci-fi horror in The Thing from Another World, incredibly witty script. Whether you got a musical like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, again, very, very witty. Obviously, he did, screwball comedy with films like, it's my mind is going at the moment with what are they called? Sorry. What's that film called? See, I'm doing this all off the cuff. But anyway, so something like A Big Sleep, Bringing Up Baby is the movie I was wanting to call, and Scarface, Rio Bravo. Like, he had lots of different types of films, but you knew when you were watching a Howard Hawks film, A, there was a quality you're expecting, and B, you knew that it was always going to be a very witty script. Although Leonard Maltin called him the greatest American director who's not a household name. So I guess maybe I shouldn't be saying that, because even though maybe he's a household name to me, maybe he's not a household name to everyone, such as, say, someone like Hitchcock. So again, like going back to Michael Curtiz, like he did a run of films with Bette Davis, he did a run of films with Joan Crawford, he did a run of films with sorry, I'm forgetting his name, the great actor John Garfield. So like I think he's obviously good with drama as well, but again, I feel like if Jack Warner said, we need you to make a film tomorrow, he's going to say great, not going to worry too much about the script, and is just going to be a workhorse and get that movie made. Like whether it's like something really, really great like Mildred Pierce, or if it's something like The Forgotten Janie, which is one of these sort of Bobby Soxer things, although it does get nominated for one Oscar. But anyway, I don't really remember, I don't really know the film, but anyway, if you remember it, tell me if it's any good. So I did want to mention, so I did study a little bit of marketing as a young person at university, and we did study something called, now at the time I studied it, it was the 4 Ps, but depending on where you look now, I think the main thing is 5 Ps or the 7 Ps. And what they are, the 5 Ps of marketing are so product, price, place, promotion and people. And it's best explained as the right product for the right price, in the right place, with the right promotion and the right people. So, now if you think of, say, someone like, okay, so some of these for a film is kind of fixed, like, but let's say, let's say you have like a small art house movie. You're not going to stick it in every major, suburban cinema. You're going to put it in, specific art house, cinemas. And, you're probably going to put them in the city where there is more likely going to be people who are interested in watching art house films, which is a pity for people in smaller cities. But then maybe in the smaller city you've got some guy like we did in Newcastle, Australia. His name was Bruce, who had a small little theatre which he would promote these great movies. Okay, so that's the place and the product. So like, now in the terms of product, so Michael Curtiz, like what is a Michael Curtiz movie? Well, honestly, there could be anything. But let's say if you've got Michael Curtiz directing Joan Crawford, okay, then you're going to get something really great. But it's probably going to be kind of a drama. Or if you're watching, again, same with, if you got him directing Errol Flynn, it's going to be an adventure. And if you've got him directing, say, Bette Davis, she's probably going to be doing something unique, like The Cabin in the Cotton, where she says, what is it? I'd love to kiss you, but I just washed my hair. Or, with Elizabeth and Essex, where she gets made up, to look much, much older than she actually was. So, the trouble with him is, in terms of a product, what is a Michael Curtiz movie? I don't know. I can't really tell you, because he did just about everything. He was genuinely that workhorse director that Jack Warner could say, make this, and he would make it. So then that's what they call, like, the auteur theory. Ooh, is he an author? I don't know, like, what connects Yankee Doodle Dandy to Casablanca, to Mildred Pierce, to King Creole, to The Breaking Point, to Private Lives of Elizabeth and Essex, to Adventures of Robin Hood, and so on and so forth. What connects them all? And I don't know. Yeah, they're all just so different. So with a product, you don't really know what you're going to get. Price, well, that's fairly fixed. You can't really change that. And place, well, it's going to be, at this time, it's going to be in a Warner Brothers cinema chain. And the thing is that Warner Brothers was really known for these kind of gritty film noirs, which he did do with The Breaking Point, although perhaps a little bit late in the film noirs kind of, its moment in the sun as being like this popular thing. And of course he does do Mildred Pierce, which is a kind of film noir potentially. Anyway, it's just something to think about. Okay, and then promotion. Well, I'd say all of his films are very much, when you look at the posters, they tend to focus on the faces, and that's partly the time, but they are star vehicles, so I can see why maybe like these actors would go back again and again with this same director. Then, okay, so what else would I say? So then he does rely on these big star names, and I'd say like the films where like you'd say like, oh, what is, I think he does rely on the same actors again and again. So like if he likes you, he will work with you again and again. But I think if he doesn't have the right people around him, that's when you see, the films get not so well received, right? So I don't think he's a star maker. Like I think even though he makes films that are great star vehicles, I don't think he can put an unknown in his film and make them a star. Say like the way Howard Hawks did with To Have and To Have Not with Lauren Bacall. So I think hopefully you can see like what I'm trying to say is that I think the part of the reason why he's not remembered is just because you can't watch Casablanca and go, hey, I'd like to watch something like Casablanca again. And you look at the director's oeuvre and it's like, well, he never really made anything like Casablanca before or after. I mean, at least say with his musicals, you might be able to say, well, I liked Yankee Doodle Dandy, I'll go and watch White Christmas. Or, I liked Captain Blood, so I'll go and watch The Adventures of Robin Hood. But I don't think you can really you can't really watch The Adventures of Robin Hood and say, oh, I love that, I'm going to watch Mildred Pierce. And I think they target different people. So, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's marketing is the reason why, say a Howard Hawks or a Michael Curtiz, it's just, he's just too hard to market, let's say. Whereas, say, someone like Hitchcock, who always sticks to that same type of film, you know what you're getting with a Hitchcock movie. No, really, for his entire Hollywood career, really. So thanks for listening. Let me know if you'd like more marketing breakdowns from me, and thanks for sticking around. I've had a few tragedies in my family and people around me, so I haven't been really able to make these videos the way I would want to. So anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I hope you'll stick around for more.